Good afternoon. My name is Brian Grzymkowski. I'm one of the assistant directors of graduate admissions here at William Paterson University. I want to thank all of you for taking time out of your schedule to join us today. We have named this specifically for our fall 2019 semester, but also want to stress, I know some of you may have already or will be registering for courses for the summer session, and registration is open and ongoing for the summer session as well. So a lot of this will be applicable. If you haven't registered for courses yet for the summer, if you're taking courses both for summer and for fall, this is applicable for both, but certainly our focus right now is for the fall semester, as today is the first day that some of our graduate students, those of you who have been accepted and matriculated into our graduate programs, will be able to register today. I'll walk you through some other information about dates and timelines and some of the issues you might encounter as you go through and try and register. But most importantly, this is meant to spell out quickly and easily for you how you can go about registering for your courses for the summer session or the fall semester. We're going to take you on a step-by-step with some screenshots of WP Connect, which I'll be talking about in just a little bit. We are going to be recording this presentation in its entirety. I mention that because I know there are work schedules, family schedules, and obligations, things you might not even expect that may take you away from our presentation early. So we do record it, and we will make it available to you on our YouTube channel. So that would afford you the opportunity to go back and review any of this if you need to. I know sometimes you might wait for the weekend when there's a bit more time to actually go through and try and register for your courses, and that'll let you go back to any of the slides if you have to leave early to catch up on anything you might have missed. So do know that that's going to be the case, and you will get an email from our office that will include the link to the YouTube channel, usually within a couple days after the conclusion of this presentation. We'll certainly make a point of getting it up by the weekend so that if you are going to try and register then, you're able to do so. That is all that I think I want to tell you for right now. So without further ado, why don't we jump into the presentation? This is just an aerial view of our campus. I fully understand that while many of you might come from the surrounding area, Passaic County, Bergen County, and beyond, you may not actually have stepped foot on the campus or gotten a chance to see it. So this is just an aerial view of our campus. It is actually finally starting to look a little bit greener. The leaves aren't quite out yet, but things are budding, flowering, and we welcome the warmer weather and for it to actually feel like spring outside, and hopefully snow is gone for good at this point in the season. But anyway, this is just an aerial view of the campus, and obviously there's no substitute for coming on campus, seeing it for yourself, and walking around, but just wanted you to get a nice little aerial shot of the campus. This is the graduate web registration timetable. This is as it has been established by the registrar's office here at William Paterson. So as I mentioned before, you'll note that today is the first day that those are graduate matriculated students are going to be able to register for courses. That includes those that are accepted into master's programs as well as our doctoral programs here at William Paterson. For those of you who are currently intending to pursue a graduate certificate program, many within the College of Education and also the College of Business, you'll have the opportunity to register for your courses for the first time tomorrow. Any of you who are taking courses as a graduate postmaster's student, you can register for your courses on Thursday. And finally, for anyone who will be taking courses as a graduate non-degree student, not matriculated into one of our programs, you'll be eligible to register on Friday. And I know it feels like forever from now, but Wednesday, September 4th, it will be the first day of classes. Certainly, we stress from very early on, it's good when you are ready to get registered for your courses, so it's one less thing to worry about. And spatial issues and classes filling up, wait lists are not something that you need to worry about. But with that being said, I know there are very good reasons why some students may have to put off registering until a little bit later in the year. But do know that if you are able to, we always recommend earlier registration is better. You can see one message there at the bottom, which I'm going to harp on a little bit further along, which is please make sure you check your WPU student email address. For billing inquiries, but also for a number of other communications that are important and shouldn't be missed. And I'll talk about that a little bit more in a moment. Program Director Contact Info. For those of you who have been accepted into one of our graduate programs, there is a Program Director who is a point person for you. Many of your more general inquiries can be fielded by the Graduate Admissions Office or the Office of Student Enrollment Services. but when you really jump into some of the finer points, it's often most helpful to reach out to the program director. Sometimes it's a matter of getting advisement, figuring out which courses you should be looking to take in your first semester. Sometimes it's putting together a plan, an academic plan looking further out, the timeline in which you want to complete your degree and what courses you need to take and when in order to fulfill that plan. But anyway, I've given you one sample here. Under admissions, the top set of links there, you can go to graduate admissions and you'll see that there is a page there that says admissions, deadlines, and requirements that breaks down all of the different programs that we offer on the graduate level. And when you pick one of those programs, you can see in the bottom left corner there, which is circled in red. In this case, we have the contact information for Professor Michael Peak, who is the program director for our biotechnology program. For each of them, the email address as well as their phone number is there, and then a direct link to their own department's website. So I can't stress enough, if you do have specific questions, they are there to help you, and they can work through some of the things like permissions and waivers and other things that our office may not have the authority to give. So certainly if you need to be in touch, don't be a stranger, reach out to those individuals and they can advise you further on academic matters. WPUNJ email account. As I mentioned before, I can't stress enough. For starters, it is the official channel of communication for all members of the WP community. There are several pieces of correspondence that you will only get electronically to your WPUNJ email account. And I totally understand that some people have 2 or 3 personal accounts and are already juggling that. But whether it is a matter of getting used to logging in a couple times through your PC, your laptop, whatever the case may be, whether it's a matter of getting this email account to push to your smartphone or tablet, whatever will make sure that you check this email account at least once or twice a week, that would definitely be a benefit to you and should be something you should look into doing. And I say that because things like bills, things like course registration information, if you end up waitlisted for a course, and several other very important things will be sent to your WPUNJ email account, and we don't want you to miss those important notifications. And I'll talk at least about 1 or 2 of those scenarios in just a couple minutes. But you actually log in through WP Connect, which is our online portal here. You would go to the website, which is wpunj.edu. You'll see in a minute that there is a tab up top where you would log in. You enter your username. We gave an example here. This is actually a really bad example because if you have a very common last name and first name combination, you may actually have several digits appear after. But in this case, we've given Smith B. It's usually your last name and then the first letter of your first name. That would serve as your username, and then your password is generally your student ID number, which always begins with an 855. So in this case, it would be 855 and then whatever the last 6 digits are for your student identification number. You would log in, and then you'd click on the small email icon there in order to access your email account. Now, if you need help setting up your smartphone, your tablet, or otherwise to push your WPUNJ email to perhaps a Gmail account or a personal email account, our help desk could assist you with setting that up and answer any questions that you might have about getting it all linked together. So here is a quick little snapshot of the homepage of the website. As you can see, circled in red, WP Connect is always right there at the top. And you can check that not only for email, but for registering for courses, for filling a leave of absence or a withdrawal form, to access grades, transcripts, other information. It's all housed there. So this is a really important go-to spot for current students. And as you might imagine, it's good practice to start to familiarize yourself with the portal so you know where to get the information that you need and you're comfortable using it to access the information that you'll need on any given week. So again, you click the WP Connect button, you click Login, you'd use your username and password that I referenced before. The first time that you access it, you may be prompted to acknowledge our university alcohol and drug policy. You would just confirm with your PIN number, which is usually your 6-digit date of birth, month, day, year. And then you'll see that if you have an issue when you try and enter your date of birth, you can try your student ID number minus the 855. So we gave an example here, very generic of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And every once in a while, for whatever reason, the system sometimes populates it with the student ID number instead of the date of birth. But almost always, it's your date of birth. You complete the security question, and then you would provide your answer to log in. This is a series of screenshots that will show you the process of going into WP Connect and beginning to search for classes that might be of interest for you in a given term. So you would go under the Student tab after you logged into WP Connect, which is at the top, and you would look under the registration section there. You can see there's a series of different links all related to the process of registering for courses. In this case, you would click on Look Up Course Offerings. The center screen shows you that you can search by term. So in this case, you would choose Fall 2019, or if you were looking at courses for the summer, you would look at Summer 2019. You could choose a date range if you wanted to filter in that methodology, and then you would click Submit. On the right-hand side, you'll see what comes up after you search for a term. You, to start, can search by subject, which is one of the most common ways that students will filter. But you'll see that there are a lot of different ways that you can drill down depending on what you're looking for. I would stress, if you are taking only graduate level courses, I would make sure you select graduate under course level data, because if you don't, you'll get a lot of undergrad courses back in your search parameters, and you'll be looking at a lot of courses that aren't relevant to your interests. You can sort by day of the week, you can sort by time, you can sort by whether the course is on campus, online, or hybrid. There are a lot of different ways that you can sort depending on what you're looking for. And you can do an advanced search if you need to, and you would click Section Search at the bottom once you are happy with the search parameters that you've entered. This is one screen, the very part at the top, once you first start to do your search again and you start to look up classes. I just want to make sure you're familiar with some of the codes and some of the most common ones as we go through. The first time you access this, especially if you haven't registered for a course in quite a while, haven't gone through the process of registering for a course online, there are a lot of codes, there's a lot of information spit out at one time. It can seem like a big giant mess of information. So this is to help you better understand before you go in what you're looking for and what things mean. So to start, you can see that there are codes like not allowed for registration, student restriction, and C for closed class that might prevent you from being able to select a course or for a course not being available. You can also see if a course is online or hybrid. And then at the bottom, perhaps the most important piece of information on this screen, the CRN number is a unique code that distinguishes, it's 5 digits, that distinguishes different courses here at William Paterson. So whether you're working with the Office of Student Enrollment Services, the Registrar's Office, they will, or even an academic department here, they will often ask you what the CRN number is for a course. And that's listed in WP Connect when you look. But it's good to jot down that number to know what you're working with. And if you are going to be communicating with an office, if you're looking for some advisement or more information, always make sure you know that course number. It's more helpful than the name. And the reason for that is you can see there are oftentimes different sections for an individual course. So there may be 3 or 4 different organizational behavior and communication courses with a similar number. And it's really the CRN that will separate them. Just so you have some information about that. Here is an actual screenshot that was taken for the fall 2019 semester for accounting specifically. So if you are considering taking accounting courses, you're welcome. I have already got you one step ahead. You can see the actual classes that were offered as of earlier this morning. And you can see there's a lot of information that's here. We'll look over some of the codes, but this is what the screen would look like after you did a search for accounting. You can see the different days of the week that the courses are offered, the time, the capacity for the course, and I'll talk about those codes in just a moment. So the most obvious one is the days of the week. M is Monday, T is Tuesday, W is Wednesday. The one that is a little bit unusual that might not stand out right away, R is Thursday, F is Friday, and S is Saturday. So note that there are not Sunday courses. Every once in a while under time, you may see TBA for to be announced. That usually occurs for online courses. CAP is the maximum course capacity for any given course, and you'll see that they do vary. ACT is the actual current number of students that are registered for the course that you're looking at. REM is how many seats are still remaining for that course. And you'll see that when it comes to the waitlist, there is the WL capacity, which is obviously waitlist capacity. Waitlist act is how many of those spots are utilized of those that are available. And waitlist remaining is how many spots are still left on the waitlist. The instructor is the name of the professor that's going to be teaching the course. The date shows the range, the first and last day for which the course is going to take place, and then the location is where the course is going to be held. And obviously it may say online if it's an online course, or hybrid if some of the coursework is going to be online and some is going to be in the classroom. So if you were actually going to select and register for a class now, you would look on the left-hand side. If you are eligible to select a course, you will see in that select column there on the far left, it will be an open checkbox. That means that you can select that course, and you can see the one small circle that's there is a course that has been selected. And if you wanted to proceed, you would click register on the bottom. For the one course that's above the check marks there's a C because that course is currently closed for one reason or another. If there was an SR in front of it and no checkbox, that would mean there is a student restriction. There is something that is preventing you from being able to select that course for one reason or another, and we'll talk about some of those in just a couple of minutes. But you would select a checkbox on the left, you would click register at the bottom, you would then be prompted to enter your alternate PIN, which again, more often than not, is your 6-digit date of birth. You would review and acknowledge a financial responsibility page, which is just forewarning you that in registering for the course, you will be billed for that course. And then you would click register at the bottom. And what you'll see is this is what it looks like after you have registered for a course and you review the option to add or drop courses. So you can see that you are in this class here because on the left-hand side, it says web registered. And if you were to go to the action column that's there, the drop-down menu, you have the option for web dropped. And I'm going to talk a little bit about why you may add or withdraw from a course and a little bit of important information about how to go about doing so. The most important thing I can convey to you is I would make sure that you are confident that you are registering for the correct courses before you do so. Whether that's a matter of contacting a program director if you are in one of our matriculated programs, or if you are a non-degree or a postmaster student, if it's a matter of calling the graduate admissions office and talking through your questions. I mention this because it's much easier to get this right the first time than to have to take corrective action after the fact, either because you accidentally registered for the wrong course, or you need to drop some of the courses, add others, go back and forth. The easiest thing is to get it right the first time. But with that in mind, things change, circumstances change, and mistakes happen. So I want to make sure you know that if you want to drop a course, you would select web drop there from the action drop-down menu. But what I also want to make sure you are aware is as a student having registered for courses, you cannot drop down to 0 credits on your own without assistance from the registrar's office. And the reason for that is you can register for 9 credits or 12 credits on the graduate level. If you've registered for more than one course, you can drop a course without any issue. You could do that yourself. You won't encounter any problems when you go to do so. If you registered for 2 courses and you realize both of them are not the correct courses and you need to drop them both, the system will not let you drop down to 0 credits without getting the assistance of the registrar's office. And obviously then that's an additional step for you. It takes more time, and it's more time for the registrar's office. Because if a student is dropping down to 0 credits, they usually need to either submit a leave of absence, and that is where you are indicating that I cannot take courses for the fall for one reason or another. It could be a family emergency, a health matter, it could be the birth of a child, it could be any number of reasons why your plans change and you can't pursue coursework. But you need to submit a leave of absence form with keeps that door open for you in the future, but indicates that you're not going to take courses right now. Or for some students, they'll be wanting to drop down to 0 credits because they've decided they're not going to pursue graduate studies here at William Paterson for one reason or another. They don't want to continue with their studies. They want to withdraw entirely from the university. And for that, there's a withdrawal form. Both the leave of absence and the withdrawal form are up on WP Connect under the registration section there. So you can fill out either of those if that scenario is applicable to you, and then the registrar's office would help you drop those courses. But if you just make it a mistake and oops, you register for 2 classes, they're both the wrong one, it's not that you can't drop down to 0. You can. It's just you can't do it yourself, and you will need the help of the registrar's office to correct that before you'd be able to then register for the correct courses. So that's why I was stressing before. It does help to take some time on the front end to make sure you're registering for the right courses, whether that's a quick phone call or email or face-to-face meeting with the program director, looking at the course catalog online quick and make sure that you're taking the right courses that fall within your program of interest, and then registering for those classes with some confidence that you're selecting the right ones. And certainly, like we said, we're here as sort of a middle point as well. If you have questions and you need to be directed in the right area, we're happy to answer what we can ourselves, and if not, we'll make sure we put you in touch with the right department to get that taken care of for you. Some of you may be taking courses as a non-degree student. I'd just like to reaffirm some of this information since not everyone is always aware of all of it. As a non-degree student, you can take up to 9 grad credits or 30 undergrad credits without being matriculated formally into one of our programs. If you decide for one reason or another you want to go past those limits, you would have to either gain acceptance into one of our graduate programs here and fulfill the application requirements for that program, or you can get permission to take 1 or 2 courses extra if there is good reason to do so, and if the faculty member or program director are willing to give you that extension. If you are a non-degree student, please know that not all of our courses and all of our programs allow for non-degree students to take coursework. And just because you've taken courses as a non-degree student does not guarantee you acceptance into one of our graduate programs here. Waitlist. As I mentioned before, and this ties into the email thing very heavily, if you are looking at a course, and obviously some of them are very popular, some of them do fill up quickly, some of them are only offered 1 semester or term out of the year, it is important to know that each of our courses have a waitlist capacity of 5. If you decide to register for one of these courses and jump on the waitlist, you will receive a notification from WPU letting you know to your student email account that you have been chosen for one of the waitlist spots. You then have 48 hours to respond and register for that course before that seat is no longer available to you and it has been passed along to the next student on the list. So I mention that because especially if you know you're going to be on a waitlist, you do want to get in the habit of checking your email account regularly, because it would obviously be quite unfortunate if there was a course that you really needed to get into, you were on a wait list, you ended up getting one of the wait list spots and were put into the course, or were given the opportunity to register for the course, and then you missed that window of 48 hours and you lost the chance to take the course that you need. So please be in the habit of checking that email account regularly, and even more so if you do end up on a wait list for one of our courses. Why can't I register? As you might imagine, there are a number of different things that might prevent a student from being able to register. There are checks and balances in place that make sure that you're only able to register for the courses that you should be able to register for, and there are some where there are good reasons why you're not able to register. That doesn't mean you won't be able to register for them in the end. It just often means that there is one or more action steps that need to happen before you'll be able to proceed and register for that course. So in this case, we've got approval by academic chair. Sometimes you need to get specific approval by the academic chair before you can register for the course. They would go in, they would enter those permissions for you, and you would then not have anything on your account that would prevent you from registering for that course. Sometimes that's there because you needed to fulfill a prerequisite in order to be able to take the second course, and you may not have taken that course, but the program director may say, I've reviewed your transcript, what you have completed is satisfactory, and I'm going to waive that requirement for you. That is at the discretion of the program director. They enter the permissions, and then you can register for the class. Student restriction. Like I was mentioning earlier, if there is an SR that appears in that select column, there is one or more reasons why you may not be able to register for that course. Sometimes it is that there is an account hold on your account for one reason or another. For example, there are bursar holds if you have an outstanding payment from a prior term. There are immunization holds if you have not submitted the appropriate immunization documentation that's needed. There are a number of different issues. If you're a non-degree student and you've reached the capacity or you're near the capacity of the 9 graduate credits, there may be a graduate hold in place. But in any case, that hold would keep you from being able to select the course and registering it. So it's a matter of determining what holds are on your account, and you can view that through WP Connect. And then there's always a department that you can go to or an action step that can take care of that hold that will then allow you to register for that course. But in this case, we just did a test webinar hold on the bottom just so you can see what a hold looks like. And you can see you can view the holds. It'll give you a reason. It sometimes will give you an extension that you can contact, and they'll give you the date in which the hold is in place. Payment options. I'm not going to go too deep into this because really it's the Office of Student Enrollment Services that you would deal with more heavily, and the Financial Aid Office, as it refers to both financial aid as well as payment plans and other information. But you can make a payment by cash, check, or money order, tuition payment here at Morrison Hall, which is where our office is located, as well as undergraduate admissions, the Office of Student Enrollment Services, and the Registrar's Office of Financial Aid. You can walk right in the front door. The desk is there when you first walk in, so you can submit your payment there. You can see that it can be sent by post. One of the common methodologies is through internet check payment or e-check. You can make your payment online. You'll see that they do accept several different credit cards, as well as we have our TIP plan, which if you haven't looked into it, it's a tuition installment plan that breaks the tuition payments up into several smaller payments over the course of the semester versus one large payment at the beginning of the semester. So just something to keep in mind if that might potentially be of interest with you. I would recommend contacting the Office of Student Enrollment Services to explore that offering a little bit further. And then important contact information. Here is the main number for graduate admissions, as well as our email address there if you have any general inquiries that you end up needing to send our way for one reason or another. You'll see also the Office of Student Enrollment Services. Their contact information is there. They are a great point of contact for a number of different issues and can address a lot of your most basic concerns as you go through this process. So I always recommend touching base with them as well, and they can point you in the right direction if it's a matter of alleviating a hold, program director's information, other things along those lines. They're helpful, as well as our own office. And then you can also see the Office of the Registrar. If one of those whoops happens that I mentioned before, where you register for the wrong courses and you need to change them for one reason or another, or if you need to drop down to 0 credits or have questions about submitting a leave of absence form or a withdrawal form, they are a good point of contact for you there as well. And obviously, like I mentioned, as you go through, this is going to be open and ongoing for the fall semester all the way through past the start of the semester on September 4th. But I would recommend, as I said, if you were able to register for courses relatively early, I would recommend doing it so that courses of interest don't fill up. You don't end up having to deal with the waitlist process. Some of them are offered only once per year, and we do want to make sure you're able to get into those courses without issue. Again, for those of you who may have joined us late, for those who are matriculated into our graduate programs, that's master's level programs as well as our doctoral programs, registration is open for you today. For those of you who are in one of our certificate programs, you are going to be able to register for your courses tomorrow. For those of you who are postmaster students, you'll be able to register on Thursday. And for those of you that are graduate non-degree students, you'll be able to register on Friday. So can't stress enough, if you don't have the chance today, tomorrow, if the weekend's a better time, it's certainly good to at least start to look up the courses, see when they're available, see if it falls within your schedule. It's good to have a little bit of a shell in place if you want to contact a program director and talk through your interests a little bit further. For some of our programs, especially the doctoral programs and some others that are deadline-based, they will oftentimes, the program directors will speak with all of their students that have been accepted to talk through the process of registering for courses, because a lot of it is based upon making sure you take the right series of courses to ensure that you're able to complete the degree in the timeline that you are hoping. So know that some of you may get more formalized advisement leading up to the start of the fall semester. But I can't stress enough that they're happy to hear from you. They want you to obviously consider registering for their courses here, and they're there as a wonderful resource for you to answer any questions that you might have. Now, I am going to stick around for a little bit. If you do have any case-specific questions, you can feel free to type them in the chat box there. Again, for those that joined us late, we did record this presentation in its entirety. If you're going to be registering this weekend or a couple weeks down the line and you want to be able to refer back to any of this information, it's going to be up on our YouTube channel. You'll get an email from us that will include the link so you can review this again at your convenience, hopefully from the comfort of a couch or somewhere where you can just relax and get registered for your courses. But for all of us here at the Graduate Admissions Office, thank you again for taking the time out of your schedule to join us. I know it's a busy time of year. Congratulations on your acceptance, and we are hoping to see you on campus for this fall semester. Thanks for listening to me, and enjoy the rest of your week and the warmer spring weather. Take care.